Here's your wrestling news for May 20th, 2021. And your headlines for today include 8 NXT wrestlers released by WWE. Real reason behind the releases is revealed. Several released talent speak out. WWE superstars didn't feel safe around a released WWE talent. New AEW Rampage TNT show and 4 annual specials are confirmed. Sting to make AEW in-ring debut at Double or Nothing. AEW announces TNT title match for Double or Nothing pay-per-view. Seth Rollins explains why he attacked Cesaro at WWE WrestleMania Backlash. Identities of Bobby Lashley's female company from WWE Raw revealed, and more. We are kicking off today with NXT as several names have been cut from WWE's Gold brand. This week, WWE confirmed the release of MMA horsewoman Jessamyn Duke, who signed with WWE in 2018 and last competed on Raw Underground last year, as well as Vanessa Bourne, who joined in 2016 and who reportedly had her main roster call-up in January 2020 but never appeared, making her last match a 6-woman tag at the January 31st, 2020 NXT Live event in Citrus Springs, Florida. Skylar Story, who joined WWE in 2018 after a year in Impact, last wrestled in a September 23, 2020 NXT Battle Royal, and Ezra Judge, who's only had 2 matches in WWE following being signed in 2019, have both been released, and Judge's last match was at the March 6, 2020 live event, where he lost to Arturo Ruas. Alexander Wolf, who competed on this week's NXT, where he lost to Killian Dane and was kicked out of Imperium by Marcel Bartel and Fabian Eichner, has also been cut 6 years after being signed in 2015. Kavita Devi, who became WWE's first female Indian wrestler when she joined in October 27, has also been cut after she last wrestled at the July 27, 2019 NXT Live event in Fort Pierce, Florida, losing to Io Shirai. Devi was meant to compete at the recent Superstar Spectacle taping for India this past January, but returned to her homeland due to a family emergency and hasn't returned to the US since. Referee Jake Clemens, who signed in October 2020 after 11 years as an official on the Indies, has also been released by NXT. WWE has explained all these releases as due to budget cuts, and now these 8 names will have to find their footing outside Vince McMahon's company. More news from the releases as PW Insider reports that out of all of the cuts, those in WWE were most shocked by referee Jake Clemens getting cut, and fans may remember him as the Seth Rollins referee who was a disciple of the Monday Night Messiah in February 2020. In his appearance, Clemens screwed over Kevin Owens, Rollins' nemesis at the time, in a match against Randy Orton, and received a stunner for his troubles before the angle was quickly dropped on TV. Jessamyn Duke was said to be well-liked and is expected to get another looking at by WWE if she continues to improve in the ring, having also been praised for her work on Up Up Down Down. Devi's departure came after she left the US for India in January as part of a family emergency, and though she noted on social media this month that her mother-in-law has passed away, that isn't related to the January emergency. Bourne's release is also being seen as a surprise by some, as many were expecting her to at least do something on the main roster, and whilst she hasn't been at the Performance Center in recent months, she had been at some NXT TV tapings. It was also noted that it's believed Skylar Story was on a short-term deal with WWE as part of the Evolve acquisition last year. As for Ezra Judge, he took to Twitter to thank WWE for the opportunity, whilst in a separate tweet said he's working on merchandise. Clemens issued a simple thank you alongside a graphic promoting his return to refereeing at an indie show in Cleveland, Ohio this June, whilst Story didn't comment on her release but said she'd be relaunching her Patreon account soon. It's always difficult to lose your job, especially if you're in a major company like WWE, but with things slowly reopening, hopefully new opportunities will present themselves very soon for these released names. Out of those releases, Alexander Wolf was perhaps the biggest name in the ring to be cut, and he didn't take long to comment on the matter on Twitter. In a tweet, the former Imperium member said that he'll be a free agent as of June 16th and thanked WWE for his 6 years with the company. Wolf's career has had ups and downs in WWE, as he was part of Sanity years ago, but after their main roster call-up flopped, he was sent to NXT UK to join Imperium. Now the German wrestler will have to find a new home outside WWE, and we imagine there will be plenty of companies willing to talk to the 34-year-old when he becomes a free agent next month. And what do you think will happen to all these superstars now that they've been released? Let us know in the comments. More release news, and after months of making headlines for promoting baseless QAnon conspiracies and ranting on local council meetings whilst wearing WWE garb, the company has released NXT referee Drake Wuertz. According to Sean Ross Sapp, Wuertz was released yesterday and had been a, quote, growing concern in WWE for several months. After a career as a deathmatch wrestler, Wuertz signed as a referee in 2014 and had several responsibilities before his most recent scandal. Fightful Select reports that many backstage were hesitant to speak on the record about Drake in the past few weeks, with the consensus being he had nuclear heat that he brought on himself for the better part of the year. That heat includes WWE having to warn him about attending events without a mask despite a mask mandate by the company, as well as him trying to politic his way into a higher role backstage, putting himself over whilst trying to put heat on others. It was reported that no fewer than 10 NXT superstars said they didn't feel comfortable or safe around him, and that he was openly critical of superstars getting vaccinated or getting flu shots. Masks weren't the only hot-button issue that got under Wuertz's skin, as last June, when Triple H gave an emotional speech about wanting everyone to matter in WWE regardless of race, religion, gender, or orientation, Wuertz stormed out of the talk. The now former NXT referee was reportedly furious when the game talked about being accepting of all religions and aggressively grabbed his belongings and stormed out when the Black Lives Matter movement was referenced. Now that he's fired, Wuertz is already looking for work as a wrestler or official outside of WWE, and he's already contacted promoters about being a free agent, but whether that leads to anything big for the former referee remains to be seen. What do you make of Wuertz being released? And comment where you'd like to see him go next. Huge AEW news as the company's new show on TNT has been confirmed. This week, it was announced that AEW Rampage, a 1-hour show, will begin airing from Friday, August 13th at 10 p.m., and that isn't the only new action coming to TNT. It's also been confirmed that there will be 4 new annual pro wrestling specials as part of a new deal on TNT, which will culminate with Dynamite moving to TBS next year. AEW Rampage's time and date means it'll also take place immediately after SmackDown on Fox, and it'll be interesting to see how this affects the viewing figures for both shows. This is the biggest change in AEW since the company was founded in early 2019, but there's a lot of time between now and January. Next Sunday, AEW will host their Double or Nothing event, where Sting will make his in-ring debut for the company. His second match in AEW, as his first was the cinematic street fight at Revolution, Sting will team with Darby Allin next Sunday to face Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. Double or Nothing will also see new AEW TNT champion Miro put his title on the line against Lance Archer, and we'll have to see if the Bulgarian Brute can hold on to the gold when he puts it on the line. Back to WWE, and whilst WrestleMania Backlash was headlined by Cesaro vs. Universal Champion Roman Reigns, it was Seth Rollins who closed out the show. Post-match, Rollins appeared and destroyed Cesaro's arm with a steel chair, which the Swiss Cyborg sold so well, fans thought he was actually injured, and now Rollins has explained his actions. Appearing on The Bump's 100th episode, which is fitting given he was on their debut episode in October 2019, Rollins justified his attack, claiming that Cesaro pretends to be a high and mighty wrestler but keeps taking advantage of the former Universal Champion. The Messiah accused Cesaro of taking advantage of WrestleMania's rain delay to beat him last month, and said that had Jimmy Uso not superkicked him on a recent SmackDown, Cesaro would have never beaten him and earned the Universal title match at Backlash. Claiming that he, not Cesaro, is the hardest working man in WWE, Rollins clearly isn't finished with the Swiss Cyborg, and perhaps we'll see them collide one last time at next month's Hell in a Cell event. And we're ending today with WWE Champion Bobby Lashley, who celebrated his title defense at WrestleMania Backlash during this week's Raw with a throng of beautiful women on his arms. After their segment, many fans wondered who they are, and now we have an idea who joined the almighty champion in the ring. One woman there was wellness coach Valeria Bermudez, who shared an Instagram post of the women backstage, which included Brianna Lewis, the owner of Luxe Glam Beauty Company, Fitness enthusiast and CEO of the Canvas Collections, Jaja Monte, as well as fitness and well-being enthusiasts Otomix, and I apologize if I said that name wrong, and Ashley Ramputi. Lashley certainly showed a lot of swagger this week on Raw, even drawing some comparisons to The Godfather in the process, and many fans appreciated this new side of the WWE Champion. We'll have to see if WWE uses these women next week, but after they were sent running and screaming following a surprise appearance by Drew McIntyre, it may be quite some time before they're in the Thunderdome again. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.